Speaking to reporters after a walkabout in Joo Chiat complex, Senior Minister Goh emphasised why the government cannot afford to lose Foreign Minister George Yeo from the cabinet.
PM is a core team. It is a core team. When I was Prime Minister, I had a core team. My core team was Ong Ting Cheong, Tony Tan, Nana Balan, and Lee Hsien Loong. On 8th of May, after the election, when the dust is settled, who will be the core team? And that's key to Singapore. You have Lee Hsien Loong. His other core member is George Yeo, George Yeo. There are other core members, but these are the three core members who will be very important. Of course, Taman will become a core member. Taman is yet, is still new, but in time to come, will develop into a core member. You need to have this core team and put names down to the core team. Don't just talk generally, but who are the core members who implement policies, who come up with policies the day after the elections.
SM Goh says he agrees with Minister Mentor Lee Kuan Yew that losing Aljunied would not be a big setback to the government. However, losing Aljunied's anchor candidate, Foreign Minister George Yeo, would be of great consequence to Singapore.
If, say, one GRC is lost, as MM said, we can accept the result. I agree with that. If one GRC is lost, we can accept. Sooner or later, you're going to lose one. But my view is if you lose Aljunied, that's a different matter. I've given my views. And that is, George Yeo is too important a person for the cabinet to lose. So you have a core team, you lose George Yeo, then I think it's a very big loss to Singapore and to Singaporeans, not to Aljunied. Aljunied, without George Yeo, you lose it. I mean, we just all will be very sad. But the result is not of great consequence to Singapore. On foreign policies, Minister George Yeo advises the Prime Minister on foreign policy. And of course, PM has his own views, they interact. Basically, the Foreign Minister advises him. So he's a very core member. He was a member of my team, but he was not yet a core team because he was a new member. So I've helped to build this core team for PM Lee. Therefore, I feel very strongly that Singaporeans don't think of their own interests. They don't think of their own interests. They just think of putting opposition, which is a separate interest. That's a separate problem. I'm not against that, but I'm saying, whatever you do, that's got an effect on your life after that.
PAP candidate for Marine Parade GRC, Brigadier-General Chuan-Jin, who accompanied SM Goh on the walkabout, also responded to National Solidarity Party's suggestion that Singapore should downsize its army.
The world went through a phase, I think, post-First Gulf War, where they felt that remote sensors, remote systems, because of the capabilities that the Air Force have developed, technology could replace people. But you could see that rapidly was found to be wanting. Even in Bosnia, when the Americans carried out a lot of bombing missions, but without committing the army or ground forces, they actually were able to target very few, despite the technological edge. Every country needs to decide for itself. I think it's probably not fair also to comment on other countries, but for our needs, I think it's quite clear that the army remains a critical component, as with the Air Force and Navy.
I'll just say, go and ask NSP. Reduce army to what size? Please tell me. They say you reduce it by 100 men. I say, that's no problem. They say reduce it by half. I say, then you've got a problem, isn't it? Reduce it to 15 months NS. Do you know the consequences? Our national service pool is getting smaller and smaller because of the lower birth rate. So if you reduce it to 15 months, what are the consequences? So I would, in fact, attack them on this. Please give me the consequences of your suggestion. It's very good to just reduce minister salaries, reduce armed forces and so on, and put us on the defensive. But I've been the defense minister. I'm not at all defensive for what we do. So I would turn it around and say, what details do you have? I'm prepared to listen.
Previously, SM Goh has said that he would not comment on candidates who are not competing in Marine Parade GRC. However, he felt compelled to comment on Singapore Democratic Party's candidate for Holland Bukit Timah, Tan Jee Se, who was once the principal private secretary to Mr. Goh.
As a rule, I said, I prefer to have a clean election, and I would not want to comment on others outside. And Tan Jee Se was my PPS, so I would not want to go into the reasons why I did so. Neither do I want to comment further, because he was an able, dedicated and loyal PPS. And if I were to go further, now by elaborating, I probably will hurt him further and damage him further. So I would not want to. I think unless I'm compelled to, better let him try and focus on his economic policies and let the others counter his economic policies. That's good enough.
For the full Q&A session with SM Goh and BG Tan, check out our following clips.